In today's episode, a peaceful neighbor, Russia has never refused to negotiate with Ukraine. CIA will not help. Ukraine faces a deficit of Western intelligence due to the war in the Middle East. Ukrainian flag on the shoulders of a sex trafficker of children. Propagandists ridiculed Madonna's support for Ukraine. Our analytical team at Detector Media is on constant watch, tracking the spread of the boldest fakes from Kremlin propaganda. I'm Vadym Miskyi, and for the next 10 minutes I'll guide you through the key facts. Let's get started. Russia has never refused to negotiate with Ukraine if they were offered in a good faith and not as ultimatums. This manipulative message has been promoted by Kremlin propagandists, citing a statement by Russian foreign minister.
Отношение к различным призывам начать переговоры президент Путин многократно, в том числе совсем недавно на Валдайском форуме, нашу позицию изложил четко. Мы никогда не отказывались от переговоров, если они предлагаются на серьезной основе, а не в виде ультиматумов. И, конечно же, мы видим категорический отказ Украины от любых переговоров, кроме как на основе так называемой формулы Зеленского, которая представляет из себя не что иное, как просто чисто пропагандистский, абсолютно нереализуемый проект.
Ну, мы знаем, естественно, предложения наших китайских друзей. Мы высоко ценим эти предложения. Я считаю, что они вполне реалистичны. Во всяком случае, могли бы быть положены в основу мирных договоренностей. Но, к сожалению, противная сторона не желает вести каких-либо переговоров. Более того, президент Украины издал декрет, запрещающий вести с нами мирные переговоры. Всем и сам себе.
Our country cannot hold peace talks with Putin because the Russian president is not trustworthy. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said this in an interview with NHK. According to him, Kyiv has no choice but to succeed in its counteroffensive against Russia. In turn, Volodymyr Zelensky said that the only document that can be used as the basis for negotiation is the peace formula.
Last year, I presented the outlines of the Ukrainian peace formula at the UN General Assembly. Later, in Indonesia, I presented the full formula. And over the past year, the peace formula became the basis to update the existing security architecture. Now we can bring back to life the UN Charter and guarantee the full power for the rules-based world order. And tomorrow, I will present the details at a special meeting of the UN Security Council. The main thing is that it is not only about Ukraine. More than 140 states and international organizations have supported the Ukrainian peace formula fully or in part. The Ukrainian peace formula is becoming global. Its points offer solutions and steps that will stop all forms of weaponization that Russia used against Ukraine and other countries and may be used by other aggressors.
As a reminder, the Ukrainian peace formula provides for guarantees of nuclear energy and food security from the Russian Federation, as well as the release of all prisoners and deportees. It also includes the restoration of Ukraine's territorial integrity, the withdrawal of Russian troops, and the cessation of hostilities. Israel is diverting intelligence capabilities from Ukraine. This narrative is being promoted by Russian propagandists. Ukraine is supposedly facing a shortage of intelligence data, which used to be provided by the West in large quantities. This decline is said to be due to the war in the Middle East. But the Kremlin should not worry about Western intelligence for Ukraine, rather it should worry about itself. After all, a Russian trail can be traced in the Gaza Strip.
Російський слід тут, як то кажуть, на обличчя. Перш за все, нам чітко відомі факти того, що трофейна зброя, скажімо так, на досить тривалому протязі часу все ж таки передавалася і угрупованню Хамас. Є інформація про те, що щось заходило до Хезболи, але достовірно цього невідомо. А от на Хамас приходило. Крім того, всі могли бачити навіть по Ютубу, абсолютно таку, скажімо так, природню для нашого регіону і абсолютно неприродню до Близького Сходу тактику, коли використовувалися FPV-дрони проти бронетехніки. Це, як то кажуть, ноу-хау все ж таки нашої війни. Крім того, є цікаві два такі факти. Перше – це те, що приблизно за трошки більше, ніж за тиждень до початку цих дій на території держави Ліван почала офіційно віщати російська станція «Супутник» арабською мовою. Веде мовлення таке в абсолютно пропагандистському стилі, з явними російськими наративами. А другий факт набагато цікавіший. 24 числа космічний апарат, який здатен вести радіоелектронну розвідку, радіоперехоплення, перехоплення супутникових сигналів, був переміщений на геостаціонарну орбіту над державою Ізраїль.
The Pentagon has previously emphasized that the United States will help both Ukraine and Israel. American intelligence is indeed actively assisting Jerusalem. However, the conclusion that the support for Kyiv will cease is based solely on the Kremlin's unfounded hopes.
At this point, that is not something that is under planning. What we are focused on when we talk about sending experts, it is people who can work on intelligence, who can work on overall planning, who can work on coordination with the Israeli government. We are not currently sending forces to Israel, and I'll leave it at that for now. As President Biden said, this is not some distant tragedy. The bonds between Israel and America run long and they run deep. And we stand with Israel, not just in these dark days, but at all times. As Corinne just said, the President has been deeply engaged in giving direction to his national security team to take action to support Israel in its hour of need. At his direction, the United States has surged ammunition and interceptors for Iron Dome, and the President spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu just a little while ago to talk about additional capabilities that Israel will need, and he pledged that American planes will be landing in Israel with those capabilities in the days ahead.
I would like to add that the Russian dictator was one of the few leaders who did not express condolences to the Israeli Prime Minister over the death of more than 1,300 Israelis. The United States ignited a war in Europe and failed to prevent a bloodbath in the Middle East. This is the fake that is being spread by Kremlin propagandists. This is how they reacted to Joe Biden's statement about helping Israel with Hamas.
Are you sure that you want to run again?
Yes, because I'm sure, look, when I ran, I said the world's at an inflection point. The world's changing, but we have an opportunity to make it. So imagine if we were able to succeed in getting the Middle East put in place where we have normalization of relations. I think we can do that. Imagine what happens if we, in fact, unite all of Europe and Putin is finally put down where he cannot cause the kind of trouble he's been causing. We have enormous opportunities.
President of the aggressor country Putin has stated that the necessity of holding Palestinian-Israeli negotiations. The result, in his opinion, should be the creation of an independent Palestine with East Jerusalem as its capital.
В Израиле живет очень много наших соотечественников, бывших граждан Советского Союза и России. Этот фактор для нас реальный, конечно. Мы же не можем об этом забыть. Но, с другой стороны, у нас с арабским миром очень хорошие отношения. Многолетние, десятилетиями. И в первую очередь, конечно, с Палестиной, которой в свое время обещали, что будет создано палестинское государство со столицей в Восточном Иерусалиме. Им же обещали. Решения были приняты на уровне ООН.
The Hamas attack on Israel has seriously damaged Netanyahu's relationship with Putin, the Wall Street Journal reported. As the publication notes, he did not cut off communication even as the Russian dictator was becoming increasingly isolated. Not even Russia's invasion of Ukraine and strong cooperation with Iran were able to sour the relationship. The Wall Street Journal reminded that Netanyahu decided to remain neutral regarding the war in Ukraine, refusing to provide Kyiv with weapons and air defense system, although the West demanded it. Kremlin propaganda exploits the problems of socially vulnerable groups to spread manipulative information, in particular concerning children. The occasion was the concert of the American singer Madonna, where she wrapped herself in a blue and yellow flag in support of Ukraine. The Propagandists reported that the world's pop star was allegedly involved in numerous scandals, such as accusations of trafficking and sexual exploitation of African children. One of the charitable organizations, the Ethiopian World Federation, at the beginning of the year actually demanded that the head of the country of Malawi check Madonna for involvement into the alleged, and I quote, the sexual exploitation of African children, abuse of power, and the promotion of homosexuality and transgenderism. But these accusations remained unfounded. No evidence was provided, no criminal case was initiated either. By promoting such narratives, Kremlin propaganda is trying to devalue international support for Ukraine. Stay with us to avoid falling prey to Kremlin propaganda. Ukraine will definitely win. Good luck.